Hi and welcome to my latest video. So we'll start from step 20 within the div element. So the div element is used mainly for design layout purposes, unlike the other content elements you have used so far. Add the div element inside the body element and then move all your other elements inside the new div element. So instead of that, I just done a div there and a closing div below the main. And then make sure you've got an ID equals menu, because you'll be using that for CSS later. Oh, menu. Then submit and go to the next challenge. Now, so the goal now is to make the div not take up the entire width of the page. The CSS width property is perfect for this. You can use the ID selector to target a specific element with an ID attribute. An ID selector is defined by placing the hash the hash symbol directly in front of the element's ID value. For example, if an element has an ID of cat, then we would target the element like this. So it would be, in our case, it would be hash menu parentheses width whatever. So use the menu selector just as it says, and to give your element a width of 300 pixels. So either below it or above it, give yourself some space, and then it's hash menu, so we're targeting that ID we done, bracket of parentheses, width colon 250 pixels, and you'll see it moves at 250 pixels. Oh sorry, it takes it 250 pixels because it stops there instead of all the way up there. So it should be 300 pixels, right? Don't know where I get 250 pixels in. Anyway, not to worry. So just change that to 300. Move on. Right, comment in CSS like this. If you're in your style sheet, comment out the line containing the background color property and value so you can see the effect of only the styling main hash menu element. This will make the background white again. So we need a / star is shift and 8, and again star shift and 8 and a /. Now using the existing menu selector, the hash menu selector, to set the background colour of the div element to Burlywood. So we've targeted the menu, so we need, oh wait a minute, now using the existing menu selector, set the background colour of the div element to Burlywood. So background colour again, colon, Burlywood, semicolon. And you see it changes to Burlywood brown, light brown say. So basically what you can do is, you can do light brown, just put light brown. That's not how you do light brown, so you can do an RGB, we just do brown, right? I'm just changing it to show you what you can do. So you just, once you get it working, you can change the values. So again it's Burlywood to pass this, and no it's no, right, now it's easy to see that the text is centered inside the menu element. Currently the width of the element is specified in pixels. Change the width property value to 80%. So it's 80% is shift and 5, and you'll see it's moved wider. Change the width property, making 80% of its width parent element. So that's 20% left, and you're taking 80% of the page up. Right, next you want to add the center menu horizontally. You can do this by setting margin left, margin right properties to auto. Think of a margin as a visible space around the element. Using these two margin properties, center the element within the body element. Right, here we go. So, margin left colon to auto semicolon, margin right semicolon to auto, and you'll see it changes, so it's giving you a space in there and a space in there. So now it's centered. And maybe we want the next bit. So far you have been using type and ID selectors to style elements. However, it's more common to use a different selector to style your elements. Add a class selector. So instead of using an ID, it's a class selector this time. It's defined by the name with a dot directly in front of it, like this. So you get dot class name, whatever that be, and then parentheses or brackets, and then the styles inside it. So change the existing menu selector into a class selector by replacing the hash menu with a dot. So it's a dot, dot, dot. So this is how you select a class. So change the existing menu selector into by replacing menu and just a dot menu. You just put, instead of hash, put the dot. Mind and take the hash out, don't leave it there. To apply the classes styling to the div element, remove the ID attribute and add a class attribute to the div element's opening tag, and make sure to set the class value to menu. Hold on. To apply I'm going to read that again. To apply the classes style to the div element, remove the ID attribute and add a class. Right, so the ID attribute, and then just put class, spell class, attribute to the div element, open, to make sure to set the class value to menu. So it's already at menu, you need to just take ID out and put in class, and then that'll correspond with your dot menu. Since the cafe's main product for sale is coffee, you could use an image of coffee beans as a page background. Remove the comment and its contents inside the body selector. So highlight the whole lot, just backspace or delete, and then add a background image. So background image, and then copy and paste this, Control C, highlight, Control C, and then paste, and then you'll see the picture of the coffee beans. If you don't, then you've not done it right, semicolon. So next, now that things look good, it's time to start adding some menu items. Add an article. So an article, I'll close an article with a backslash. Excuse me. Add an empty article element under the coffee menu. It will contain the flavours and prices of each coffee you are currently offer. Right, okay. So I'm opening and closing the article. Wait half a week. Right, article elements commonly contain multiple elements that have been related information. In this case, it will contain a coffee flavour and the price of that flavour. Nest two P elements inside your article element. The first one's text is French vanilla, and the second £3. Or 3. It just means £3. So paragraph, closing paragraph, closing paragraph. Right, so I'm pressing the wrong buttons in case you're wondering. The first one should be French vanilla, so type out French vanilla. And get ready to do some work next. Because that's not what you do. So, starting below the existing coffee price pair, add the following coffee and prices using article elements with the two nested P elements inside each element. Right, so So I would just highlight that, Control C, make sure you don't delete it whatever you do, Control V, and then change, see, just put in all the caramel mojito, and then 375. And then we'll need to do it again, so Control V, Control V, Control V. So we've got pumpkin spice 350, pumpkin spice 350, oh, 3.50, sorry. You'll see it change over here. No, you won't. You will. 350. Hazelnut 4. So make sure it's below the ones you've just done. Don't copy over the ones you've just done. Hazelnut 4. And mocha. And a mocha. MOCHA. And what's the mocha? 450. So 450 for your mocha. Don't know if that's a good price or a bad price. Then submit to go to the next challenge. If you didn't do it the way I done it, then it'll no work. Either you get a spelling mistake in it, you've got a backslash missing, or you've no an article, or you've got a backslash missing in the article. But if you've done exactly what I done, then it should pass. If it doesn't, then leave a comment. The flavours and prices are currently stacked on top of each other and centred with their respective P elements. It would be nice if the flavour was on the left and the price was on the right. Add the class name flavour to vanilla. So inside the P we put class equals FLAVOR. So basically we're going to use a dot flavour to use the CSS. So using the new flavour class selector as a selector, set it so dot flavour parentheses or brackets text align colon, and we're going to align it left, and you'll see that the French vanilla has moved to the left if you've done it right. So next you want to align the price to the right. Add a class name price. So again, class equals price, but make sure it's inside, it's just after the P and before the greater than sign. If it's not, it won't work. Now align the text to the right of the element with price. So again, it's dot price to select it, to link it, sorry. And then text align colon right, semicolon. And you'll see it's went right. So that is kind of what you want, but now it would be nice if the flavour and price were on the same line. P elements are block level elements, so they take up the entire width of the parent element. To get them on the same line, you need to apply some styling to the P elements so they behave more like inline elements. To do that, start by adding a class attribute with the value of item to the first article element under the coffee menu. So class equals item. Right, I think that's what they're wanting anyway. So the P elements are nested in the article elements with the class attribute of item. You can style all P elements nested anywhere in the elements with a class named item like this. So dot item P. So using the above selector, add the display property with the value of inline blocks so the P elements behave more like inline blocks. Elements. Right, so dot item P for paragraph, parentheses or brackets, whatever you want to call them, and then it's a display colon inline minus block semicolon, and you'll see they've just come into line. Okay, move on to the next one. So that's closer, but the price doesn't stay over to the right. That is because inline block elements only take up the width of their content. To spread them out, add a width property to the flavour on and price class characters that have a value of 50% each. So we need a width colon 50%, 50% semicolon, and then a width colon 50% semicolon, and then move on to the next one. Well, that did not work. Styling the P elements as inline block and placing them on separate lines creates an extra space to the right of the first P element, causing the second one to shift to the next line. One way to fix that is make each P element's width slightly less than the 50%, so change the width value to 49% for each class to see what happens. So 49%, 49%. That's better. Right, that worked, but there's still a little space on the right. You could keep trying various percentages for the width. Instead, use the backspace key to move the P element with the class price next to the P element with the class flavour so that they're on the same line. In the editor, make sure that there's no spaces between the two elements. When I read that the first time, I hadn't got a clue what they were talking about, but nowadays. Hey! Yabba dabba doo! Now go ahead and change the flavour price width to 50% again. So 50 and 50. Move on to the next one. Now that you know how it works, you can change the remaining article and the P elements to match the first. Set by... Right, okay. Right, we'll do that in the next video. Okay, thanks very much for watching my latest video. And I appreciate all the views. Thanks very much for the views. And leave a comment if you're stuck or need any help. I'll certainly help him that needs any help or is stuck. Okay, thanks very much for watching my latest video. Bye now.